This is interesting for a couple of reasons, right? My name's Johnny Vedmore. This is NEWSPASTY. And this lady here is a presenter at Sky News, Murdoch's own little news channel. And it's entitled Israel-Gaza War, the Sky News first UK news crew taken into Gaza. Now, I think they accidentally titled that. I don't think, because it was Israel-Hamas war. Now it's Israel-Gaza war. So now it's accepting that it's a war by Israel against all of the Gaza people, obviously, because they're not just targeting Hamas, are they? They're mainly targeting civilians, and Hamas happened to be in the way. That's how it's gone. And so what are they doing? The first news crew to go in.
Her report is subject to Israeli military restrictions.
Well, I think all of the reporting out there is subject to Israeli military restrictions, and the report over here where they talk to the Israelis and they go and side with the Israelis, like, okay, Burley.
So for us to go inside and stand by our missions, it means a lot for us.
For us to go inside and stand by our missions, it means a lot to us. What, to go into Gaza and kill mainly civilians, it means a lot to us.
This is one of the routes Israeli soldiers are using to attack Hamas inside Gaza. An officer drives us up to the fence on the Israeli side of the border.
So this is definitely with Israel, Gaza. This is one of the routes in that they're taking, and they're taking this film crew in so that they can do their little propaganda piece of how it's like these brave Israeli soldiers fighting against these Hamas people in this Israel-Gaza war, as they now call it. Rebranding.
From here, we switch to heavier armor. Journalists living inside Gaza have been reporting on the war from the ground since it began.
And the world has basically been ignoring it all the time.
But this is the first time the Israeli military has allowed reporters to enter the Palestinian territory with its troops.
Look at this. Look at this. This looks like just rubble, sand. It doesn't look like it's an easy place.
We step out at a neighborhood in central Gaza.
That's a neighborhood.
Just over a mile from the Israeli border. The sound of gunfire is immediate.
It's pretty clear what will happen is that this neighborhood will soon be occupied by Jewish settlers. No doubt. So if you think you're just looking at something that is them going in to get these terrorist killers, as George Bush would put it, these Hamas guys, you're wrong. This area, this is important to understand, just over the border, this will soon be Israel.
So
that firing is
evidence of the devastation.
Look at this. Look at this. They have completely leveled. This is the first town they go into. This is the first town on the border, like one of the first towns. They just level it. Get everybody out of there. Soon they'll bring in bulldozers to go all up. It'll be an Israeli settlement. This is what occupation and growing occupation, creeping occupation looks like. It makes you question why Hamas were allowed into Israel to commit those attacks, because there's no way the Israeli Defense Force suddenly all turned away at the same time just for a moment. It's bullshit.
There's barely a building left standing.
Yeah.
The military says some of the gunmen behind the October the 7th attack on Israel that triggered this war came from here.
They can say that all they like, but that doesn't give them the right to destroy civilian architecture, infrastructure, kill civilians, kill babies, kill women, kill children. It does not give them the rights. So they can say, oh, a bad man came from here. Look, Osama bin Laden came from there. Let's destroy it, level it, and kill everybody and move everybody on from move everybody on from who's left inside. Let's do it because someone came from there.
No sign of life now.
You can just see the level of destruction here. This place was hit by multiple airstrikes.
100%. This will be within a couple of years an Israeli settlement.
Before the troops came in, and now they are pushing deeper into Gaza in this effort to destroy Hamas and also rescue hostages.
But this is, you can see in front of you, is this to destroy Hamas? No, this is an effort to destroy everything there. all infrastructure, all buildings, everything. Everybody pushed out, not to rescue hostages, level it.
An officer says his troops are targeting a network of tunnels used by Hamas.
Right, I'm not sure if you just saw that. Look, this guy is walking in with his weapon, and he's pointing his weapon at his commanders. Now, is that just for the camera, when there's a camera in there? What type of army trains their own recruits to point weapons at each other? Which army? I was, for years, I was in the Sealed Knot, which was the 17th century enactment organization, but it had muskets with gunpowder and stuff like that. Still, even though we weren't firing anything but wadding, we were told never to point our guns at anybody. That was obvious. What is this?
We go to search a tunnel in the.
These time, look, they've blanked out his face. You can see what he looks like. You can see what he looks like. The blur is the worst blur. Just you can see him.
East section over there. We found 2 tunnels, and now we're going to destroy them.
The soldiers claim
And destroy. Oh, they're only destroying tunnels, are they? So what is this that we're looking at here? They've destroyed the streets. They've destroyed the houses. They've destroyed the businesses. They've destroyed people's livelihoods. They've destroyed the internal and external parts of the property. They've made the properties uninhabitable.
this was a residential home
That's not
that
just tunnels.
doubled up as a Hamas assembly point.
Oh, this doubled up as a Hamas assembly point and is an excuse. Yeah, what about all of the buildings around it? This is what they do. They say, "Oh, look, this was a Hamas." Who got that evidence? Where's the evidence of that? You could just say that about any building. Look at this bombed out building. Here, a Hamas person lived, and so we had to kill them.
It's now an Israeli position.
Only Hamas move. Only Hamas move from side to side. So here, they're standing above, and they're looking out, and they're firing out at things that they can see. What are the things? Are they firing out at things that are they receiving fire? I don't think they are. I think they're firing out at things. And how can they possibly know what is going on out there?
But not without a fight. Troops have been on the ground in Gaza for more than a week. This brigade alone has lost 3 soldiers, but says they've killed dozens of militants.
Okay, I have a real hard time believing anything the IDF say, because the IDF lie with every second breath.
In the rubble, an Israeli flag.
We're in the centre of Gaza.
In the rubble, there is an Israeli flag that they're all pointing guns at. So yeah, they've taken that, haven't they? They've done a really good job of taking that. Look at this; it's just destruction. They're just wreaking. They're going potential kibbutz by potential kibbutz. That's what they're doing. They're breaking down each of the places where Palestinian peoples live systematically, destroying all of the property, making way for Greater Israel.
Gaza, you can see Gaza City is just over there. You can hear maybe gunfire. We've been told by Israeli soldiers that they've seen some suspicious individuals, and they're firing on.
They're scenes. There you go. What they're doing is firing on people they call suspicious individuals. I would argue that those are probably Muslims that they see as suspicious individuals. But this is what happens. If you live anywhere around here now, you might just get sniped by Israelis. That's what they're doing. They're hanging out, sniping people because they look a little suspicious. This isn't aiming at Hamas. This is looking for people who they don't like the look of and then shooting them.
Israel's
destroying houses, destroying parks, destroying streets, destroying alleyways, destroying livelihoods, destroying everything. Everything, completely destroying everything.
Palestinians to move south, but many are still in the north, and everyone's suffering.
Because they know that the Israelis are going to come in, they're going to destroy everything, they're going to push them south, and then they're going to take all of their land off them. That's what they do. That's what they've been systematically doing for years and years, decades and decades. We know this. We know that's what they've been doing. We know what this trick is. And this trick is supported by all of the politicians in the West, Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, Joe Biden, all of them.
The officer who's escorting us says the military's working on a new humanitarian corridor south. But safety has so far been hard to find.
There's a very high civilian death toll.
If they were really in danger, if they were the ones, because all that firing, I can test that all that firing we can hear in the background is Israelis firing on suspicious targets. So anybody who's moving in a distance. If they were really in fear that they were being fired upon, would he be standing here with all of this? Look at the space behind. Look at that. Would you be standing there with Gaza City behind without the fear of being sniped if you were actually in some form of territory where people could fight back? This is bullshit.
A soldier, how does that impact you?
Personal, I can tell you, I haven't seen a civilian or one civilian here. We've been here for a week.
We haven't seen one civilian here. That's because you've just destroyed everything and you're shooting anybody that's moving in the woodland or anything that looks suspicious, which is anything that's not IDF. So Lieutenant Colonel Gillard, of course he hasn't seen any civilians because he marks everybody down as militant.
I haven't seen civilian. They all know the message, and all of them, most of them, went for the south.
All of them? Most of them. All of them, most of them. Two different statements.
The IDF is doing all what he can in order to stop and separate between the population and the militants.
No, they are not. That is pretty clear by the actual numbers of people killed. The IDF is not doing all it can. It is breaking Article 51 of the Geneva Convention over and over and over again. It is targeting civilians. It is targeting civilians. It knows that civilians are there. It says one guy's there who's really bad. So even though the civilians are there, we're going to target that area. So they do that with the knowledge that they are targeting civilians at the same time. That means they are targeting civilians. You can try and do linguistic hoops around what they're doing, but what they're doing is murdering civilians.
Of Hamas.
Yet civilians are still dying, a toll that's only going to grow.
You see, I mean, they know this. They're not here to actually report. They're here to report what they already know is going to happen.
Our time on the ground is limited, but the soldiers look set to stay. Israel's war here will be long and...
Well, of course, because they need to make all of that space for all of the future kibbutz. They need to push everybody along because occupation does not occupy itself, does it? You got to occupy yourself. You got to go and occupy. Get out there and occupy. And these guys are now going village to village, and they're going to go into Gaza City, and it will be a mess like you cannot believe.
Hard.
We're serving the country. Okay, we taking care that the 7th October will never happen again.
These guys have all been brought up through a system that tells them what they're doing is right. They all have been watching TV that tells them what they're doing is right. They've all been reading newspapers telling them what they've been doing right. They've all seen the media and entertainment that tells them what they're doing is right. Everything they're doing is based on the idea that what they're doing is right. They also are backed up by messianic prophecies and the belief that they are the chosen people of God. That mixture there, what's going on here, this is all very dangerous.
Deborah Haynes, Sky News in Gaza.
Well, there you go. There's a load of pasty out there, isn't there? It's nothing you want to see. This is what we expect. This is the start. This is just eking towards something much bigger, much more terrifying. And we need to add some positivity to this and get some sort of positive outcome for the Palestinians. We need to stop the war happening. We need to ceasefire, and there's not going to be any ceasefire. Understand what we're seeing here. This is the march towards the end. It's a march towards the end. So we need to do something to stop that. We need to do that, all of us. Yeah, whether it's commenting on it, pushing out there, telling people about it, we need to stop what's going on. We need to stop war. We need to stop war. It's a fact.
Creating a great reset for the post-corona era.